Hello and welcome to episode 18 of the Outlifting Lounge.
This is the show all about pride, fitness, and everything in between.
In today's show, we are going to be talking about Alan's shiny new toy.
Careful now.
We'll be covering a couple of LGBT news stories from the past week. And in the fitness section of the show, we will be talking about training splits. So if you've ever wondered what a training split is, what the best training split is, we've got the answers for you. Let's go. I already know the answer to this question, but how has your week been, Alan?
My week's been pretty good
Why has your week been pretty good?
because I get a new water bottle.
For those listening to the audio version, Alan is holding up his water bottle as if he is a TikTok maw who's trying to punt stuff on TikTok Shop right now.
I was actually going to say QVC, but yeah, let's go TikTok for the kids. Oh, I just hit your laptop there, sorry.
Yeah, that costs considerably more, so let's not do that.
Do you know what? It's the simple pleasures in life. I am so excited. How many times have I told you that my water's still cold?
It's an insulated bottle, okay, I get it. I'm very happy for you.
12 hours of insulation.
Little amuses the innocent, and you have been very amused by your new water bottle.
I'm telling you, it's just simple pleasures in life from now on, and I'm very happy.
And you are simple and you're a pleasure. So I guess that makes you my simple pleasure.
There's an advertising slogan.
Yeah.
Slogan?
That's logo. New word. It's like when they make up words in Drag Race, like eloquent.
And what was it? Lazzy da?
Flasse da. Schön. Flasse da.
Lazzy da. Yeah.
So yeah, what's that slogan?
Slogo.
Oh, and speaking of Drag Race, my week's been good because another Drag Race has been announced.
Is there a week where we never speak about Drag Race?
No.
I thought this was going to be the week until Canada All-Stars was announced.
So let me ask something. Is there ever a week that Drag Race isn't on?
No,
Exactly.
that's my point.
So there you go. I'm going to keep talking about it while RuPaul still is sucking the life out of everybody around her. No, I'm going to keep talking about it because I love it. And you love it as well. You just pretend not to.
I enjoy it.
So Drag Race, Canada, All-Stars. I had to think there. That's a lot. There's just so many different franchises with different names.
I know.
So Drag Race Canada All-Stars has been announced for later this year. I'm happy about that. And what makes it even better is Brooke is the host, but we have got Jimbo and Priyanka as the judges for the
And
season.
we love Jimbo. We went to see them in Glasgow when they performed, and it was one of the best drag shows ever.
So obviously Jimbo does that number that they did in UK versus the World where they throw the bologna out to the judges, but baloney. But they do that in when they tour. So we went to see them in Glasgow, full kit, the big white outfit, weird as anything, and asked, did anybody not want baloney thrown at them? And we were just about to put up our hands because we didn't want meat thrown at us, and no, that's unusual for us.
We do in some contexts.
Yeah. Not meat though. So we were about to say no and we were a bit timid about it. And this girl in front of us, her hand shot up and she said, I'm vegan and I brought, she produced it from her bag. She had corn slices. So she specifically asked for Jimbo to throw those at her. It was very good.
Yeah, that was a good night.
Yeah, it was good. So yeah, very excited about that. So I'll tell you what, I'll make you a deal. What about we don't talk anymore about Drag Race just now and we head straight into the news section of the show?
Hallelujah. Let's do it.
So we picked out a few items of news. The first one we just want to touch on, it was something we talked about last week. And this is a bit of a follow-on.
It's infuriating. The German referee that we spoke about last week, who proposed to his partner at the football match, was attacked at his home. And unfortunately, it has happened again. And the most infuriating thing about it is that actually the police were watching his house. He was under police protection. And it took them 30 minutes to get there after the second attack.
So obviously they messed up quite significantly on the first attack. He phoned them. They said nothing to worry about. And 20 minutes later, guys beat him up in his own garden. And then this happens when the police were meant to have a fast response marker on his property.
And it's just the rise of the far right in Germany is coming out in these types of incidents. And unfortunately, it's happening. The far right rise, unfortunately, is happening all over Europe.
So yeah, obviously we're coming up to Pride season as well, and what I would just hammer home to anybody that's tuning into the show is remember what Pride is. Pride is becoming more and more important in the current climate and the current context, wherever we are in the world. So make sure you keep that in mind. Go out, be visible, be seen, be loud, and make your voice heard at Pride.
If you want a little reminder of what Pride is about, watch the film Pride. That's all I'm going to say.
It is a very good film. You'll shed a tear.
Yes.
So, on a better note, so the second news story that we wanted to touch on comes from the European Parliament this week. So, I'm going to get this right. I'm going to read it out. The resolution was regarding the EU's priorities ahead of the 70th session of the UN Commission on the Status of Women. So, the really good thing about this resolution is, and there were lots of parts of this, but there was a line in that that basically reaffirms that trans women are women and for the full recognition of trans women, and notes that their inclusion is essential for the effectiveness of any gender equality and anti-violence policy that's passed. So really, really super positive. And again, Europe leading the way here.
Yeah, it's amazing news for the trans community when there's so much going on in the world, and it's so good to get some positive news about it.
Yeah. And I mean, this resolution, like there was lots of stuff covered. The headlines predictably just focused on the fact that trans women are included, as they should be. But I mean, the resolution, really, really lengthy, but it covers so many important things like gender-based violence and femicide, gender stereotypes, misogyny and sexism, sexual and reproductive health and rights, sexual violence and gender equality. I mean, there's so much to this. But the the fact that the resolution is inclusive is just so important, it really is. And that, I mean, there's just been a lot of bad news recently, so that was a little, again, from Europe, more good news.
Yes, we love that.
Yeah.
And there was an item in the resolution which really stood out for us, which said it commits the EU to a foreign, development and security policy which is inclusive and intersectional, prioritising the needs of women and LGBTQIA plus human rights defenders.
Yeah.
High five that.
High five that indeed. Because especially we see what's happening in the USA, we see what's happening in the direction of travel in the UK, especially with some of the stuff that Reform have been saying this week.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the EU is once again a big shining beacon. And obviously political winds can change, but for the moment, we're very, very fortunate to have the European Parliament, the EU, the Commission, all of that, supporting us and defending human rights.
Yeah.
So are we done with the news section then?
Yeah, let's move on to the fitness section.
Welcome to the fitness section of the show. The topic this week is one that Alan's quite passionate about. He wanted to include this, and we do get quite a lot of questions in about this. So it's all about training splits, and that is essentially how you schedule your workouts, in what order you do them, and how often you do them. A lot of people, especially if people are new, they get a bit confused by this because it's just yet more terminology. So we're going to cover some of the common training splits, what the advantages, disadvantages are, and why you might want to do them. So Alan, do you want to kick us off with just a bit about training splits?
Yes. So we get asked this question quite a lot, and it is, what is the best training split for me? What is the best workout schedule for me? And the answer will always be, it depends. It depends on what you can do, what your schedule is, what you can stick to. So with a lot of things in fitness, I think the best answer is it depends, because everybody is individual. So we're going to go over the main ones that most people do. So we're going to start off with full body.
So this one is a pretty good one to start off with, because I think full body's quite good for beginners, actually, who maybe don't want to have to think too much about the terminology of training splits or think about those while they're learning about all the other stuff.
Yeah, exactly. And the reason we're going to speak about these certain splits is it means that you're going to be hitting the muscle groups multiple times a week, which is ideally what you want to do. In last week's episode, we touched on the bro split a little bit in the fitness section, where you're working one muscle group each day. But these splits that we're going to talk about are going to be more beneficial if you're a beginner, intermediate or advanced, because you're going to hit the muscle groups multiple times a week. So full body does exactly what it says on the tin. You're going to hit multiple muscle groups throughout the week. So think in one session, you're going to do legs, you're going to do chest, back, biceps, triceps, shoulders. You might even want to throw in a little bit of core, like ab work there as well.
Yeah, totally. I mean, that's what quite drew me to body pump classes when I first started going to the gym. I like going in and getting a full body workout. There's just something about that. There's a sense of accomplishment as well to it. Moving on in time, you probably don't want to stick to just doing full body workouts every time you go to the gym. You do want to like narrow in a little bit and do some of the other kind of training that we're talking about. But for a beginner, super to do because it just keeps it quite simple. And also as well, if you don't have a lot of time in the sense of you can't make it to the gym 4, 5, 6 times a week, and you can only maybe commit to 2 to 3 sessions, a full body is quite good for that because you can go in and do 2 or 3 a week, and that's it essentially.
Exactly, it's great for that. And we might actually program this for some clients who have a few busy weeks coming up in their schedule. They might be doing a different split, but what we do is pivot to 3 full bodies. I know what you're just about to say, pivot, pivot. We might pivot to 3 full bodies because that's all they can do for maybe 2, 3 weeks, but it means that they're still getting that full approach to their training over that time.
Yeah. Beginners normally know when it is time to move on from the full body, when it is maybe just getting a bit too much. Maybe there's other stuff that they want to start doing. They maybe want to start working on specific parts. Maybe they feel that their calves aren't developed enough, so they need to start putting that in. And before you know it, they can maybe spend 2 hours in the gym, which is a big time commitment and also can be quite draining on energy levels. So that's perhaps time to know when to move on.
Yeah. So the next one we would recommend going to is an upper lower split. And we would do that obviously over 4 days. So you'd maybe do upper lower, have a rest day, upper lower, and then obviously the rest of the week are either cardio days or rest days.
And again, what it says on the tin, so upper body, lower body. Now, a common misconception is that people think that they need to do the same upper twice a week and the same lower workout twice a week, but that's not the case. What you can do is slightly different exercises in each to perhaps target slightly different parts of the muscle in a muscle group. So again, this is where being a bit smarter about your training split can be advantageous.
Yeah, it's good to hit different parts of the muscle, but obviously to keep interest there as well. If you're going in and doing the same workout essentially twice a week, you're probably going to get bored with it. So it's really good to have a bit of variety in there to keep your interest, but also to make sure that you're progressing and hitting the muscles the way you want to.
So again, it's quite good if you don't really want to be in the gym 6 days a week. This is quite good because it's a 4-day commitment, which I think for most people is pretty reasonable. Eh?
Yeah, I would say so. And the good thing is as well, if you're hitting 2 lower sessions over the week, you can prioritize. Maybe you want to work on your glutes a little bit more. So you can maybe make one of those a little bit glute heavy.
Yeah, and let's face it, a thing that a lot of gay guys want to work on. Everybody wants that dump truck ass. Cake, 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 cake. Everybody wants the cake, and yeah. So once you get a little bit more confident in the gym, you can move on. And it's not just the upper lower split where you can do that as well. Some of the other splits that we're going to talk about are quite good and allow you to maybe focus on certain areas that you want to work on.
Yeah, I will say though, if you're someone who doesn't enjoy a leg slash lower day, maybe having 2 of those a week is a bit like, oh, because I hate doing legs, and the only reason I hate doing them is because I don't feel I'm that strong in them. You know, it's the path of least resistance as humans. We don't enjoy doing something we don't like. So again, having that 2-day split, although you might not enjoy legs, you can put a bit of variety into it then. And I would always recommend to do some ab work during a lower day as well.
If you're looking for a split that is maybe a little less leg heavy, you could go for a PPL, which stands for push pull lower.
Yes, really, really good split. I would say that this is more of an intermediate advanced level for this kind of training. So push would be chest, shoulders, triceps. Pull would generally be back and buys, and then lower is exactly it. Lower slash leg, sometimes it's called as well. So you could do this maybe 3 times a week, push pull legs, Or you could go into push, pull, legs, upper, lower. You could actually add those two in if you're going to do more of a 5-day split. And again, that just means that you're going to get the muscle groups worked multiple times a week.
Very good advice.
Thank you very much. So what I would recommend is if you're doing a push, pull, legs, upper, lower, you could maybe do push, pull, legs as 3 days and then have a rest day and then do the other 2. Ideally, for any of these splits, you don't want to be working the same muscle groups on consecutive days. So think about that when you're planning it into your schedule as well.
Yeah. And I mean, it is good. Doing this is maybe just 3 days a week isn't going to be enough because you're really only going to hit each muscle group once in the week. So I think a lot of people who would do PPL would do it 6 days a week. And it's good because if you're doing push, you're not going to do it again for another 3 days and then you get 1 rest day a week. Big commitment though, 6 days a week in the gym,
Yeah.
which not everybody can do. So it makes it a little bit more of an advanced split to do if you're doing it 6 days a week.
You could also do it as 4 days over the week as well, and it rolls over. So you could do push, pull, legs, push, then into the next week, legs, push, pull, legs. So it could work on a 4-day split as well, but it depends on what your goal is and obviously how long you can work out for, how many days you can work out for, but it is an option. But just know that if you are doing that, it might just take a bit longer for you to see the results that you want to see.
Yeah. And again, I mean, this is quite a lot of information being thrown at people, but hopefully this exemplifies the fact that there are no hard and fast rules. You can play about with things. What I would say as well is you could do a push-pull split with no leg day, and then you incorporate the legs into the push and the pull workouts. So for instance, you could do squats on your push day, you could do deadlifts on your pull day.
Yeah, that's a really good way of doing it. Just caveat to that is that the workouts will probably be a little bit longer, which is fine if you've got time for it. But an advantage of it is that you don't have that dreaded leg/lower day that's coming up. So yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah. And then you can do 4 days a week in the gym. So slightly longer sessions, but you're only there for a 4-day commitment, for instance. And if that suits your schedule, brilliant.
Yeah, I was doing push-pull there for a little while when I was waiting on my knee recovering, and I've just started to introduce legs a wee bit, unfortunately. But yeah, no, it's nice to get back into that split again.
Good. Any other splits that you want to talk about today?
So obviously we talked about the bro split last week, and essentially it's working, say, chest on a Monday, back on a Tuesday, legs on a Wednesday, shoulders on a Thursday. So it's a muscle group per day. I am not the biggest fan of it. I think it's very old school. A lot of people like doing it, but again, if you're new to training, you might think that's the best way to do it because you're giving a really good workout to one muscle group, but it's really, really taxing to do that. And also, disadvantage is if you miss a day for whatever reason, you might not be doing that day again until the next week. So you're really getting a lot of time in between those sessions.
I personally think the only way the bro split works is if you do more than one muscle group per session. And then that means you're hitting each muscle group twice a week at least. So I think people who want to get results will maybe do 2 to 3 muscle groups per session, and then they choose which ones they want to do based on what the preference is and what works well together. So yeah, the bro split of just doing one muscle group once each week, yeah, you're absolutely right. It's not great.
Yeah. And I will say as well, there's a huge caveat to all of this in terms of these are really good splits to do depending on your circumstance and your schedule. But remember, depending on what your goal is, fat loss, muscle building, even maintaining, that will then dictate how the workout is actually structured in terms of sets that you're doing, reps that you're doing, rest time.
Yeah.
And remember, nutrition is a huge, huge part of it as well. So again, depending on what your goal is, you need to make sure that your nutrition is set up well with your training. So that's just something to think of. There's no one split that's going to be the best one for your goal.
Absolutely. There's one I actually want to talk about because it was quite a trendy one last year. I think it got quite a lot of circulation on the likes of TikTok, and that's the 3-2-1 split. So it's 3 days of muscle training, 2 days of Pilates, and 1 day of cardio.
I haven't heard of this.
Yeah, so I think it was more popular with women in particular, but I think there's a lot to be said for that, because that holistic approach to training, making sure that you're getting good core work in there as well and you're focusing on that. I mean, we really found that when we lived in Glasgow, because we were teaching eh, Les Mills core classes, we were teaching body balance classes. There was quite a lot of isolated core work that we were doing, and it was quite holistic. It targeted all of the core muscles in the back body and the front body. And I massively felt the benefit of doing that. And I think we've spoken about that. We're going to pick that up and try to do more isolated core work now. But yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said for that as well, because if you are the kind of person that likes variety, there is no point in forcing yourself to do a split if it drains the life out of you. If you feel that you're just doing it because you need to do it or you have to do it or that it's the right thing to do, that's not sustainable long term. So find something that works for you. If that means you find a class in a gym that you like to do 1 or 2 days a week, you can work that around your split. So it's all about finding what works for you, what keeps you motivated, and what keeps you wanting to go back to the gym.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Obviously, we haven't really touched on cardio that much. So, if you're someone that likes to go out running, for example, but you're thinking, oh, how am I going to fit all this in? Pick the split that works for your schedule. So, if you're out running 3 days a week, I would probably say 3 full bodies is going to be perfect for you. Don't think that you need to be doing push pull legs up or lower as well as running 3 days a week. You're going to be absolutely exhausted and you're probably going to end up injured as well. So, yeah, pick the thing that's going to work for you, introduce all the elements that you enjoy, and then the chances are you're going to stick to it even more. What I will say is trends, the TikTok, wherever it is you're getting this information from, don't think that that is inverted commas the best thing to do. The best thing to do is the thing that you're going to enjoy and that you're going to stick to.
The other thing about social media as well, whether it be TikTok or Instagram or whatever, there's so much conflicting advice out there. You know, if you want, and again, it's the hooks. It's the hooks. So if you want a big chest, if you want this, this is what you need to do. And I get it, because these creators want to hook you in, they want to get this, but they're just, a lot of the time, they're just saying this stuff to try to get clicks and views and likes. The realistically, it depends from person to person, what your preferences are, what your abilities are, where you're at on your journey, how much time you've got. There's a lot to it. So if you are tuning into this and you do feel confused by what you've seen online and all of this conflicting information, and you don't really know, feel free to get in touch with us, as we always say. I mean, you can drop an email, podcast@outlift.ing. You can send us a message on Instagram, that's at outlift.ing, and we will be more than happy to give little pointers and advice and answer some of these questions that you might have.
Absolutely. Like I said at the start of this section, it depends. If you're not getting that answer from someone, they're not giving you the true answer. I've always believed that. And I feel that we try and cut through a lot of the BS that's out there in terms of what's right and what's wrong. Nothing is right and nothing is wrong when it comes to this approach. The answer is, it depends. So if you're not getting that answer, look for that answer. And like you said, like drop us a message. We love speaking to people, hearing about their journeys, where they are, and you know, it's not even about getting in touch with us for a sales call. It's about getting in touch with us so that we can just help you and give you some information.
Absolutely. We're here to help. That's what we do. Shall we wrap up the show? I think we've talked about splits enough.
Let's do it.
Unless you want to do the splits.
Absolutely not. Unless you want to take me to the hospital.
No.
Let's wrap it up then.
As ever, thank you very much for tuning into the show. As Alan just said, you can get in touch with us if you want. It's not about getting you on some sort of sales call. However, as we always say, if you do think that the outlifting service that we provide is something that might interest you, we can get you booked in for a video chat, and it's no pressure, no obligation. So if at any time you think you do need a bit of extra support, we offer online coaching services, nutrition, accountability, and much more. We're helping lots of other gay, bi, and trans guys who are part of Team Outlifting. If you think that you might want to join and you can benefit, have a chat with us. Book in for a free, no obligation discovery call by clicking the link in the show notes now.
We will be back next week with another show. And don't forget, you can find us on all streaming platforms: Apple Music, YouTube, Spotify, and Amazon Music.
But that's us for this week. Until next time, over and outlifting.